So today we're going to see if we can get this 74 Mgbgt running. So this GT is owned by the son of a longtime friend of Captain Oblivious and his wife. He's a teenager who I believe just got his full license to be able to drive on his own without adult supervision, I believe yesterday. So he's owned this car since he was 13. His parents bought it for him and this is what he wanted. Well, it's been sitting and has never ran the whole time they've owned it, and it wasn't running when they bought it. It was supposed to be like a father-son project. Never actually happened. Now he's got his license. The situation has changed for them. He actually ended up buying a 71 GT that runs and drives and needs a few little things here and there, but stuff that he can handle. And the deal is that he told me that he wanted to sell this thing, but it hasn't run since they've owned it. And how much do you think we can get out of it? And if I sell it, I get half the money from it to put into my other car. So after talking to him about the car a little bit and and what he knew about it, I got to thinking about it, and I called Captain Oblivious and said, hey, I think we can get this thing running pretty quickly and pretty easily. Why don't we just go grab it and get it running for him? Because if it's running, if he can actually start it for somebody, it makes it a much easier sell, and he can get more out of it to put back into his other car. So here it is. I absolutely do not know how long it has been since it has run last, because he hasn't told me like the history of the car before he owned it, how long maybe it had been since it ran. But overall, it's not in that bad a shape. It's been painted before, had some rust repair done to it, but it looked like it'd be a good project for somebody, something somebody can get up and running and maybe do as a rolling restoration and be a fun toy for someone, or a nice father-son project or nice retirement project, something along them lines. So we're going to work on that today. Now the only reason it's on the trailer backwards is because where it was sitting, that was the only way we could grab it, and they said that the right rear was locked up, but it actually came loose while we were pulling it on the trailer. And it looks like we got an additional little issue here. Evidently the bolts weren't in the latches, and the wing vent windows, or the rear windows, it was getting dark as I was hauling it, and I couldn't see that the windows actually popped open, and one of them's actually laying right here. So yeah, we're going to have to fix that for him too. All right, so we went ahead and just backed the trailer in. I'm going to leave it on the trailer to work on it because I don't want to have to push it back off the trailer, back on the trailer, all that crap. So we're just going to work on the trailer today. And this is Keegan. He owns the car. And from what he's been telling me about it, it sounds like it's probably a timing issue. They say it has good compression, would turn over and all that. But if we look down here, we can see the distributor is nowhere close to where it's supposed to be. And the wires are nowhere close to where they're supposed to be either. Now, that said, the distributor drive gear back in there sometimes is off, especially when you see a motor like this where it's painted a non-original color. It might have been apart at some time. Maybe they just did a rattle can rebuild, maybe they did an actual rebuild, we don't know. But whenever I see it painted the wrong color, I tend to think, well, whoever worked on it doesn't know MGs that well, and that's when you usually see the drive gear in the wrong place. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to check. I got the key on, and down here at the points, we're going to separate the points here and see if we get a spark. We're getting a weak spark, so they just need cleaned, but that shows we got power. So every time you open that up, you should see a little spark. They could use clean, but they're not that bad. We should be able to have spark at the plugs right now. So that's step one. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rotate the motor around the top dead center number 1 cylinder to see where the rotor is pointing, to see where number 1 is actually at with the timing of where on this motor. All right, so we've rotated this around to where this cylinder is at top dead center, both valves closed, and as I was spinning it, I was watching the intake valve close and then brought it up to top dead center. You can barely see the mark, but we got it on top dead center there. And the rotor is pointed down this way. It should be pointed about this direction here if it was in the right position, which means the drive gear is in the block is in the wrong position. But that's okay as long as we know where it's actually at. We can adjust for that. And we still may go ahead and put it in the right position today just to make it right. But if you look at this, the vacuum diaphragm should be pointed right about this direction as normal. So that would put the vacuum diaphragm in relationship to the rotor roughly about what it should be timing wise. So as long as we got the sparker wires all in the right position, in theory it should run. So I went ahead and put the distributor drive gear back in the correct position. So the number 1 cylinder is right here where it's supposed to be, and we put the vacuum canister up. It should be facing right about at the heater control valve, maybe just slightly to the right of it sometimes, to be correct. And I went ahead and decided just to make it right so there's no confusion. And the firing order is 1, 3, 4, 2. You gotta remember these rotate counterclockwise. So it's 1, 3, 4, and 2. So now we should be able to hit it with a little starting fluid and see if it makes any noise. So we'll go ahead and hit a little ether in here. Turn the key on.
Keep all the change in the little ashtray.
It looks perfect. It does. It looks perfect.
Well, so it's going to run. All we got to do is just do final adjustments on the timing and get some fuel to it. So I got my handy dandy temporary fuel system hooked up that I use for getting everything running. And we'll see what we can make happen. I've moved the distributor just a hair. We should check the compression on this thing. Sure. What's the oil pressure? 50. Little low. I should be seeing about 70. Being cold. 50 at idle is not bad. Actually, cold. The way it's popping out the exhaust, there's still some issues we got to work on.
My creation is alive!
So I went and checked valve adjustment real quick just to make sure we didn't have anything really loose. One was a little on the tight side, but the rest of them weren't too bad. Now I'm going to go ahead and check the carbs over. Make sure they're actually balanced and both full of fuel, all that stuff before we go any further. Alright, so here we are. I've checked the carbs. They were out of balance and jet heights weren't the same. Tweaked those. We ran through a fresh set of plugs in it because it had auto-light plugs, which I don't like to see in these things. It's still a little bit rough running, but should be good enough for him to be able to sell it. So I think that's probably as far as we're going to take it. So we got Keegan's car back to his house, and they're happy it's running. They got some video of me driving it off the trailer, so even if they have any kind of troubles trying to get it started at the house because they can't feed it gas or whatever, they still have video of it running to show somebody. So the rear window that popped out, luckily when it popped out, it landed on the trailer and didn't break the glass. All it did was rip the hinges off the end of the window frame. And luckily, it being a 74, those were the stainless window frames, which means I was able to go ahead and just TIG weld the hinges back on and put the window back in place. So it all worked out. We didn't have to find a new window or anything for it. And when he got here, I asked him, hey, did you forget that there were no screws in those latches? And he's like, whoops, yeah, I forgot I took those out. So we got them all fixed up. So it's not that often that I see somebody, say, under 30 anymore, who's truly interested in these old British cars and actually wants to have one and drive one. So, you know, when we do see someone in the younger generations here who are interested in these cars, you know, we need to support them. We need to and make sure that, you know, they're hitting the ground running, they're not getting frustrated and then decide these cars aren't for them. So I wanted to help the kid out and, you know, maybe he'll stay in this hobby and, you know, carry the torch for this hobby for, you know, for the rest of his life. Maybe not. We'll find out. At any rate, it's MG Rob. Later.